In the conference, the recording has started. Please announce.
Join Mark and Don for Weapons Wednesday, where you'll learn how to use everything from your bare hands to your average AR-15.
The 12 gauge autoloader.
Sure.
The 45 long slide.
Yep.
With laser sighting.
You betcha.
The Uzi 9mm.
Yes, sir.
Based plasma rifle in a 40-watt range.
What are you, crazy?
Wrong.
Okay, they'll talk about that too. So whatever question you have about whatever weapon you have, call Mark and Don on Weapons Wednesday. And remember, your mind is your first best weapon.
Now you can feel that squeaky clean sensation like none other with Vitamer toothpaste and mouthwash. Vitamer toothpaste and mouthwash is a unique natural formula not found in any other oral care products. With a gentle combination of zinc, folic acid, myrrh, and clove oil, Vitamer effectively whitens teeth, removes plaque, and freshens breath, and it does it naturally without any harmful chemicals. Visit us online at Vitamer.com. That's VITAMYR.com. Or call us today to place your order at 1-888-558-8482. That's 1-888-558-8482. Keep your teeth and gums healthy with Vitamer toothpaste and mouthwash. Vitamer, nature's answer to healthy teeth and gums. And remember, it's all completely natural. Available at participating health food stores nationwide.
Liberty's Guardian, Guns and Ammunition, a family-owned business located in the heart of Ohio's hunting country. Let us help you find the right shotgun or rifle for you. Or if you're looking for a pistol or concealed carry, we have a nice selection of compact and subcompact pistols for that too. Check out our website at www.libertiesguardian.com. That website again is www.libertiesguardian.com. Go to the website and check out our selection today.
I had a dream the other night that, well, I didn't understand. A figure walked in through the mist with a flintlock in his hand. His clothes were torn and dirty as he stood there by my bed. He took off his three-cornered hat, and speaking low to me, he said, "We fought a revolution to secure our liberty. We wrote the Constitution as a shield from tyranny. For future generations, this legacy we gave. In this, the land of the free and home of the brave. The freedoms we secured for you, we'd hoped you'd always keep. But tyrants labored endlessly while your parents were asleep. Your freedom's gone, your courage lost. You're no more than a slave. In this, the land of the free and home of the brave. You buy permits to travel and permits to own a gun, permits to start a business or to build a place for one. On land that you believe you own, you pay a yearly rent, although you have no voice in saying how the money's spent. Your children must attend a school that doesn't educate, and your Christian values can't be taught according to the state. You read about the current news in a regulated press, and you pay a tax you do not owe to please the IRS. Your money is no longer made of silver nor of gold. You trade your wealth for paper so your life can be controlled. You pay for crimes that make our nation turn from God and shame. You've taken Satan's number. You've traded in your name. You've given government control to those who do you harm so they could burn down churches and seize the family farm and keep our country deep in debt, put men of God in jail, harass your fellow countrymen while corrupted courts prevail. Your public servants don't uphold the solemn oaths they've sworn, and your daughters visit doctors so their children won't be born. Your leaders send artillery and guns to foreign shores and send your sons to slaughter fighting other people's wars. Can you regain the freedoms for which we fought and died? Or don't you have the courage or the faith to stand with pride? And are there no more values for which you will fight to save? Or do you wish your children to live in fear and be a slave? O sons of the Republic, arise, take a stand. Defend the Constitution, the supreme law of the land. Preserve our great republic and each God-given right. And pray to God to keep the torch of freedom burning bright. As I awoke, he'd vanished in the mist from whence he came. His words were true. We are not free, but we have ourselves to blame. For even now as tyrants trample each God-given right, we only watch and tremble, too afraid to stand and fight. If he stood by your bedside in a dream while you were asleep and wondered what remains of the freedoms he'd fought to keep, what would be your answer if he called out from the grave? Is this still the land of the free and home of the brave? God bless you, and God bless this republic.
And good evening, ladies and gentlemen. This is the Evening Intelligence Report. I'm Mark Cornke. One day closer to victory for all of our brothers and sisters, both on and behind the lines in occupied territories, southwest, east, northeast, and central. Ladies and gentlemen, you are listening to us on Libertytreeradio.4mg.com, IndianaFreedomTalkRadio.com in memoriam. We love you, Spike, and we miss you. And we are on AM and FM micro stations, CB base stations, and UltraNet, Hallmark, and Golden Spike Technologies east and west of the Mississippi, along with Alaska. Good afternoon and evening to all of our friends out there in lower 49, which includes great state of Jefferson, along with CONUS, the outlying two states, the outlying territories, and the clock. Somewhere it is midday, somewhere it is midnight. Right here it is 8:07 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. It is Communications Tuesday. It is the 16th of June. It is the 12th year of open Fabian Socialist and Soviet Socialist occupation of America with a K. 2020 Old Earth Calendar. 2020 Year of Conflict. Year of the Dance of Swords. And for everybody out there. It is, of course, bright and still headed towards sunset right now here, where we are in Michigan, 8:07. It has been a beautiful, perfect day outside. Couldn't complain about the weather. You know, you got to be an idiot. Somebody will. We're doomed. Mayan calendar says nice weather means dead people. The Nostradamus says when the sky is bright in the evening in the west, then doom is upon you, blah, 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 blah.
It's Larry, Mark.
And we got Larry with us here. Oh, thank you, sir.
For some reason,
Larry
it would not unmute.
There we go. Well, that happens sometimes. I was just going to say, we haven't had any intentional sticks in the spokes from the system for a little while, so not an if, just a when. Larry, what's it like in your neck of the woods? What's jumping off the wall down there in the middle of the Midwest?
Well, I'm not so worried about what's going on in the Midwest. It's pretty much the same garbage as the rest of the country, but look what they're doing in the rest of the country. They're shutting down the food supply. They're shutting down the economy. They're telling everybody that Trump's going to have his rallies again, and out the other side of the mouth they're saying they're going to shut things down again because the second wave of the magic, secret, invisible enemy is coming to hit us again. Yeah, I don't think so. And yet here's military all over the country, and yet people are buying guns in droves, and you hear the commies telling us we need to give up our guns and that they're going to tread on us. And gee, it's an interesting mix, Mark. If you ever saw the militia of Montana's movement of war, you know that the last step is mass terrorist events, which is what we're seeing now. These fake commies are being given pallets of bricks here in this country. They're being given nice canvas bags of bricks in Germany, but it's the same. It's the same tabernacle-dwelling, yid-yapping slime that are doing this. The same ones that fomented insurrection and revolution in Russia. It's the same Zionists. It's the same Epstein-raping ISIS scumbags run by nitwit Yahoo. Remember he did 9/11. Remember he did Epstein. Remember he did ISIS. Nitwit Yahoo is about the biggest criminal on the face of this planet, whatever this planet is. But he's the biggest criminal that there is, running this tiny little country that everybody says, why are you worried about that little country? Because they got their mitts in everything, folks. Who raped little girls to death to blackmail both parties here in the U.S.? Well, that was Ghislaine Maxwell and Israel and the Mossad. And they did the Clintons and they did Trump. The same garbage, both parties here in the U.S. and in other countries. That's how they have their strings and their hooks and everything. So, yeah, poor little parasite POS Israel. That's the one running the show here. That's the one pushing the revolution. That's George Soros and all the rest of these scumbags. Who's now the Federal Reserve's main handler? That's Blackstone, folks. All the trillions of dollars, that went to the bankers and stuff before, it's still going to them. It's just handled directly now by an Israeli group called Blackstone. Do you not get that? Trump is their man here, their fifth columnist here in the United States, serving our enemy. We should be bombing Tel Aviv, not Tehran. That's what we've got going on here. So it doesn't matter which idiot they put in place. They're a lightning rod, and they're a fifth columnist, compromised servant of our enemy, Israel, in this country. And the FBI goes along with it. The NSA goes along with it. Remember that Epstein was given a sweetheart deal because he was what? Intelligence. Yeah, they think that's okay to rape little girls to death as long as they've got intelligence and they've got all those videos of, Epstein's clients raping little girls. Again, Trump met his wife, Melania, at Mossad pimp Ghislaine Maxwell's Kit Kat Club. That's what we've got in this country. It doesn't matter which one you vote for. They're going to tell you who's going to win anyway. It doesn't matter who you vote for. What matters is who's counting the votes, Now they're trying to make some big farce about whether it's mailed in or not. It doesn't make any difference. They've had these electronic voting machines and, black box voting for years. It's been a farce. We haven't had a good president since they murdered John F. Kennedy. Some may debate that, but I think he was far more MAGA for this country than this piece of garbage Trump is. Trump isn't MAGA, he's MEGA. Make Israel greater again. Israel's getting ready to, quote, annex the West Bank and Jordan. Jordan has stopped talking to him. Looks like North Korea stopped talking to him. I found the headline today that I saw rather interesting. Apparently, North Korea blew up a 4-story building, Mark, that they use for diplomatic relations between themselves and the South. If anybody's seen the reboot of Battlestar Galactica, which I thought they did a heck of a job with that, even though they did do a lot of gender swapping on the main characters, but the whole series starts out with this lone diplomatic outpost sitting out in space, and for 50 years, the humans sent a representative to this space station. The Cylons sent no one. Then one day, they arrived, and they blew it up, and that began the war. And that kind of seems like maybe what we're getting from North Korea now. So they've had enough of our games. That's all Trump does is games and run his mouth. Nothing he says is worth anything. It's not worth listening to. He'll tell you one thing one week and change his mind the next. Remember that he said that the Y-35 fighter was a joke, a turkey, and it should be defunded. And he was absolutely correct as a candidate in saying that. Yet as president, he threw billions and billions of dollars at it, and it's still a piece of junk. That applies to so many things he's done. He said he was going to build a wall. He hasn't built a wall, hasn't built maybe one new mile of extra wall, just repaired some other pieces. Meanwhile, I mean, it's just issue after issue after issue. How many things has he actually done that he said he was going to do? Zip. Nada. Except for Israel. Yeah, he kept all those promises. Yeah, he's definitely king of Israel, but he's not of the United States of America. And again, Israel's got their mitts in this attempted communist revolution here in this country, big time. Big time. Remember, these garbage put Stingray surveillance devices all around Washington, D.C. so that they can listen to congressional and presidential phones. Nothing's ever done about that. Nothing is ever done any time they do anything. They've stolen our nuclear material. They've stolen our secrets. Trump wants to free their biggest, he's already been freed, Jonathan Pollard, but wants to toss him back to Israel. He's not our guy, folks. He's theirs, period. So as things continue to deteriorate, as the food disappears, you just remember why all those Q-tard posts, all that garbage that comes from the one PSYOP, military PSYOP called Q, understand why all that is garbage and why absolutely none of it is panning out. Because he doesn't work for us. He works for them, for the Zionists, the Israelis. He's not a Christian at all whatsoever. I don't care how much he talks about God. He doesn't have any Christian awards up on his wall, but he's sure proud of those Tree of Life Synagogue awards. Remember, too, that he participated in the Tree of Life false flag shooting synagogue in New Jersey, where a CIA op came in, and it was listed as a live fire exercise, just like Sandy Hook was. Remember that they legalized propaganda for home Obama, and that's still the case. So we've got Parkland, we've got Vegas, we've got the one down in Texas at the Walmart down there in El Paso. We've got this Tree of Life synagogue shooting in New Jersey that he participated in. It was a live fire exercise passed off as a real shooting. It wasn't. And then he used that as a call to kill people that dared to speak out about the depravity and the murderous criminal nature of the Zionist Jews. That's what Trump is, folks. And sad to say that they don't care who they put in office. They're going to win either way. So they're trying to come after the guns. They're definitely coming after the food. The economy's down the toilet. They tell you how many people you can have in a restaurant, really, over this fake virus. This virus that, you're 90-some% odds to survive unless you have other complicating conditions, something that is less lethal than the flu or a common cold. To hell with them. To hell with the CDC. To hell with them. They don't have any authority to tell you to do squat. And Trump's pushing a virus or a vaccine now. It says the military is going to come give it to you. If they come to give you that shot, you be ready to give them a few of your own, I hope.
Actually, from that end, let's not forget with the Trump head and the vaccine garbage, that's Hillary the Hutt. That's right out of Hillary the Hutt's agenda, people. For everybody who doesn't remember, as we've said, the idea is to barrel roll and flip everybody that's Trump head upside down and cruising, backwards. It's expected, and it's where a lot of them are. So, plus, again, the panty wastes have been horrible. The the Dawg Muzzle crew is again, good to know who they are so you don't have them around you. It's like one guy was saying, I was just reading a piece here somebody sent, and he goes, yeah, he was having a conversation with his neighbor. A third person walks up, and the idiot almost screams and runs back into his house to hide. And the idiot is quote unquote college educated and a lawyer and supposedly a professor. Blah 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 blah. It's like, who cares? He's an idiot. It is amazing. You still have to ask, wow. Drinking the Kool-Aid from the boob tube, from the computer and from the phone.
Tell live vision.
Yeah, we're talking Twilight Zone, and nobody used electroshock therapy on these fools. These creatures have done this to themselves. That's the funny part about it to watch. Understand, they didn't have to take anybody to a camp. These fools did this to themselves. And, of course, with the manipulative cooperation of propaganda media. The thing they hold in their hand, I'm a professor, I'm college educated, I'm blah, 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 a lawyer. And it's like, and then run for the house because another man's or woman is going to stand there and there's three of you together. Now, that's kind of, I play that all the time. Some of you already noticed that. It's like, by the way, two things. You put out your hand to try and shake somebody's hand. Watch to see what happens. What's fun is this is now like a pass coin, Larry. Guys, put your hand out to shake someone's hand and watch how they respond. If they lurch back, don't you deal with that person ever again. That person is so Fruit Loopy that they're finished. But watch what happens when you run into a person who, they're being cautious because they don't know who they're dealing with. But when they see that you put out their hand, their whole attitude, it becomes sunshiny. I've recruited a whole bunch of people here locally that way who were like, hey, and by the way, my name's Mark, and I put my hand out. And it's funny, I can pretty well judge it anyway. I haven't anybody who has done the, oh my God, he tried to shake my hand. In fact, just the reverse. I think I've judged well with everyone I've talked to, because they put their hand out, and not only that, but they're actually, it's a man's grip, and they're smiling because they're tired. Guys, all of us are tired of the panty waste. We're all tired of this. And I've got an attitude about a bunch of different, bizarre caricature situations with our population that exist, but this is an example of where everything is so haywire. The only thing that's going to fix this is a shooting war, and that's where we are. That's what's left. Real quick, for everybody who didn't see it, there are a whole bunch of videos. Larry, are you familiar with Bethel, Ohio, and what was going on down there?
No.
Okay, for everybody I'll bring you up to speed in a short, just like what happened where we were preparing for Hillsdale, Michigan, which is you can't get there from here town. There's no major expressway, there's no major rail service, there's no rail station, there's no major airport. It is a rural, isolated dot on the map, but it's a good size dot on the map. Forgive me, Hillsdale has Hillsdale College, which is one of the multiple reasons for attacking Hillsdale, which is what the queer/faggoty Greta Bruce Jenner that we have for governor, the he, she, it. That's why she was focusing on it in two different waves. And they tried to get the Antifa thing going. Well, we pretty well put the kibosh to that. The mayor, of course, and a lot of other people who mobilized. But we were prepared for it. What happened down in Bethel is they came in off 125. Now, if you look at a map of Bethel, there is no major highway. There's no major expressway. It's all county/state roads. There's no rail. There's no big airport. It's an average-size American town. I was wondering if it's a county seat. It's not, although it looks like it's bigger than the county seat, which I think is really interesting. It may just be volume and space as far as, the city's limits, and not so much population. But the first day they came in, of course, they got pushed out, so they came back again with more outsiders, and of course the cops are siding with the Antifa/Black Lives Matter crew. And, oh, my goodness, the controlled leftist vomitous press was like, well, everybody was armed. Oh, my goodness, the people of the city were armed. Well, damn right they're armed. All I got to do is look across the country. I don't trust any of you fools. And as far as the press lying, we know they lie. In fact, if you ask anybody, they'll tell you the press lies. Since we know that the press lies and we understand what situation we're in here, there isn't anybody who should be caught flat-footed on this. And in this case, when they mobilized the second time, yep, sure enough, like I said, the state pigs showed up because the state police, their job is to support the mayhem of the ADL, the Mossad, and other operatives in like the Lodge, et cetera, Southern Perversion Laos. They ride with them. They're the Epstein queers, okay? And this is what you see everywhere around the country. The state cops and, of course, the SWAT teams. The people don't want to have their houses busted up. They don't want these characters in their yard, their neighborhood, or anything. Well, the cops are there to make sure that they shove that right down your throat. And that's exactly the way they played the card down there. So everybody pay attention. Now, of course, there are only 6 local officers, so they brought more leftist cops in for to support the other leftists who were ride-ins down 125, which, by the way, is out of Cincinnati. So, so far, again, you can find a bunch of the videos on YouTube. Mostly, again, these are the, WCPO, which are all slanted leftist, WCPO, Blazing Press, Antifa, BLM, Show Up in Small Town, Bethel, Ohio, Live, 614. That's one that I've already shared quite a bit of. And so if you go through, you'll find depending on which day it was. Now, of course, police ignore counter-protesters getting violent in Ohio. Yeah, everybody is tired of the garbage real quick. BLM protest in Bethel, Ohio gets countered, protest by American patriots. Everybody got on the street, got down, again, pretty well organized. Plus, apparently there's a bunch of bike groups down in the area as soon as they heard about it. A bunch of the motorcycle groups showed up to reinforce, so it worked out pretty well there. And there's other videos, there's a bunch of other reports. Most of them are going to be slanted by the hyper-leftists. Expect that. But if you want to show people, what we're talking about, you can get a fixed idea for again, the size of the town. You certainly can go to Google Map. Don't forget, you want to ride downtown Bethel? I've told you this a million times. Use the enemy's junk that they've put out there. You can get on the streets of Bethel, Ohio, and drive it right now, sitting at your keyboard at your computer. Use it. It helps you to understand the lay of the land. Then when you look at the propaganda images, you can figure out, who's where and what. And you kind of are familiar with the terrain, with the environment. So use these tools as long as we can where the enemy has provided. The other side's doing the same thing. It's just you need to learn to do it better. We need, like I said, during the 2-hour block, you got to get better at what you're doing, people. Across the board. And look, I'm doing a 2-day, let's see, today search to see if there's anything special. No, actually, I would say maybe there's about a half dozen to 8 or 9 specific videos, and there's some that overlap that cover the event. And give you a better idea overall of, who's in the zoo and what's where. So hopefully they'll fire the police chief if he's going to piss about the people saying, no, we don't want Black Lives Matter here. Fire his ass. Get his ass fired. Anybody who goes along with him, fire them too. Get some real locals in there and treat the problem the way they should treat the problem. Beat their ass out of town. That's just how it should be. Why? Because I don't see anything. Nothing's good coming any of this. It's not going to get better. It's going to get worse. The economy's not going to be fixed. Well, the economy is fixed the way they want it. It's not fixed. It's fixed, as in fixed horse race. So that's finished. The thing we're looking at now are solutions, not just complaining about the problems. I would point out again, get into CB radio, Marine Channel Radio. Needless to say, Marine is fantastic. Marine is far clearer. In both cases, you can tweak and upgrade or modify CB radios to include all of the null frequencies. We're not talking a single sideband. Certainly, if you can do SSB. But remember, when you add SSB, that's another situation where if you don't have good discipline with regard to your radio operators, all it takes is somebody tweaking the dial, and you're talking to dead space where none of your ears are, okay? Just want to think about that. One thing about military radios, they have lockdowns for the frequency. This is something we don't have with any of the civilian radios we're using. So that is one of the most common errors made by radio operators under pressure, even in a military environment. Granted, they can still lock it in, but, somebody's working on it, they bump something. It's a screw-down, lockdown system like a nut, so it should stay. And some have a tap ratchet system, so they actually, hear the clicks as you're tightening it down, click, 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 click. Okay, I know I got her secured. It depends on what year or which radio you're talking about, from the ANPRC 8s, 9s, and 10s up to the 90s and the 101s and, the 16s, etc. There's a whole bunch of junk past that in between. But most of what we're running into, like we have a bunch of ANPRC 90s, we got tons of ANPRC 25s and 77s. We got thousands and thousands of ANPRC 8s, 9s, and 10s. Those are all mill radios with all the bells, whistles, spare parts, and everything, and they work flawlessly because we've been working with them and have a complete maintenance section. We do maintenance with most of the militia units and intercooperate on the communications issue, especially here in Michigan. Another thing with regard to the civilian radios is, again, light discipline. I haven't really mentioned this. You got to watch that. Some radios are a little bright on the dial. This is also true of stereo systems, by the way, which you've probably seen. Larry, if you got to install a new stereo system, you can actually, until you adjust it, it goes from one color to the next, which is actually, several of those colors are great for night vision operations, with, burning your eyeballs out. The green and the blue are actually pretty good choices for not ruining your night vision completely. Of course, they're still neon almost, but a lot of your CB radios and other marine radios and such have illuminators. Now, one of the tricks that's real crude when the time comes is do a box visor made out of cardboard. All you got to do is cut a cracker box, whatever, about 3 to 6 inches long, and a little bit of a taper. The width of the height of the side panels should be the height of the radio, maybe a little more just to be safe. And then you cut it so it can be taped right over right onto the box, and it's basically like a visor on a hat. 3-4 inches long if you want, or longer, but the idea is that it deflects the light down. I go so far as to actually flat black paint the downside, and you want to make it pretty, paint it all. Paint's cheap. And then you tape it onto the radio, and that means that, you're not going to have to get into the box and try to shut down the LEDs and all the other stuff if there's any illumination. Hell with that. Just make it so that it's difficult to see and it's screened. And a little light shield like that, like a hat visor with sidebars, is the best way to do it. You don't go straight out with the sides. Come up on a slope taper to the farthest cut of the top visor. You pretty well can figure it out. It's kind of like what you see on the old meters and such, where you had meters with the readouts and you had to use them outside. You have a little sun visor to block the sun, reverse order, so you can read the LCD or whatever you got for a readout. Anyway, FRS radios, obviously everybody should have them. CB radio handhelds, if you run into them, I just got 3 at yard sales this weekend for free. Actually, what was it, Sunday night? No, it was Monday, as a matter of fact. Forgive me. It was out on the road. It was actually on the south side of Dexter. Had 3 regular CBs, a couple of handheld CB made by Realistic. All of them function. None of them had battery burn. Usually what it is people put stuff on the shelf and leave the batteries in. They leak out, and you got to clean everything up. Then you still got, may have problems with oxidation. You got to make sure you neutralize that. These were all in great shape. They match the other Realistics and the handhelds that I've got, so eventually those are going to go to somebody. I'm just going to take the whole collective pod that I've put together. They were all hand-me-downs anyway, and those are going to go to a vehicle unit. Those will be their handheld mobiles when they walk away from the machines. Another thing, remember, medical personnel. One of the things, we do use the FM 5-channel short-range radios. They work phenomenally well, but one of the things we've moved a lot of those to are to the medical personnel, to give medical a separate bandwidth and operating frequencies that are unique so that they don't have any interference. Now, it does mean they need other radios to talk to other people, but most critical is that they can communicate within their own sphere without interference for the most part, and they can get the particulars out of the way that they need to without any possible jamming or interference other than aggressor radio operations and countermeasures, okay? Another thing here is batteries, and more batteries, and rechargeable batteries, and alkali, and cheap throwaway alkali. I don't care what it is, but keep piling up the batteries. I got a box here. It's about 12 inches deep. It's about 14 inches wide, and it's 18 inches long, and it's solid with batteries. I just put more batteries in there today, and the idea is that's just one battery box with, double A's, triple A's, C's, D's, 1, 2, 3s, watch batteries. If I find stuff at yard sales where they got new in the pack and they got in the freebie box, I grab those and put them in a bucket like this or a box like this, and then they go down the road to another pod. Collect it until you fill it, and every time I go to the Dollar Tree, it's policy, $2 worth of batteries. Triple A's, double A's, watch battery card, I don't care what it is, grab $2 or $3 every time you go. You're there anyway, it's part of that payment, payment to operate. And those go into storage. You're never going to have enough batteries, but you also need to spread them out, just like ammunition and just like your guns. So you can get a gun, a knife, or something you can bludgeon people with, like either a drywall mallet, which is a tomahawk with a hammer, or a hammer. Hammers are really great. Leave hammers around everywhere, people, where you know where they are, but people can't see them. You can beat someone down with a hammer and, make it a war hammer real quick by just using it on them. Harder than your hand, and just go crazy town. Because if you got to defend yourself, you don't know when you're going to have one of these Antifa or government types pretending to be Antifa showing up to try and assassinate or murder someone. So whenever somebody shows up, scream, holler, attack mode, make all of the noise you can, and go to battle axes and broadswords right away. If you can reach a pistol, shoot them. If you have to stab them and slice them to death, keep beating on them until they don't twitch anymore. Take the weapon they have if they had any, or if you find one on them, use it on the next one coming through the door, or the next one might be slinking around. Because chances are they were hoping to be quiet about whatever they were going to do and make it look like something else happened. Well, we make sure we make lots of noise, and none of them survive. So you need to be thinking that way. With regard to antennas also, and I've mentioned this a million times, copper wire. Don't chuck out any copper wire, especially if it's long in any way, shape, or form. Guys, steel wire and copper wire makes antennas. We can make antennas out of wire. So we need that rolled up. Do a 5-gallon pail. Coil the stuff up, put it in the pail. Might need it for repairs or something else anyways. And copper is money. Down the road, copper is money, currency. We're going to be making it in all kinds of things, including coins. That's already in the mill, and I would point out that one of the other things we've talked about is go ahead and crash the money system. We have to have a money system ready to go, and we will. Not 3 months after it happens, the moment the enemy pulls this crap. That's why you all need to be in gear to assist in however many ways you can. Whatever you can find that'll be a niche market for you as far as things to collect or things that you can market and sell. We need commerce. We need to make sure that we've got people fed. We're going to need to see people clothed. There's a number of different technologies out there that need to be preserved. I'm seeing sewing machines at the resale shops for $15 a piece because most of the Nimrods out there don't know what to do with them. And these are singers, upper-end singers that are in excellent condition. They're grandma machines, nothing wrong with them at all. And that's with a cabinet. I picked up for Don before he passed away a fold-down cabinet that was like Larry is a completely self-contained sewing shop. You pull it down, there's an industrial sewing machine in the workstation, industrial. And the whole rack, the whole thing, which looks like a piece of colonial furniture, spool racks, cloth shelves, small bins for pins and for, everything from snaps to buttons to whatever, and all there. So all you do is pull it down. Whatever you're working on, you fix it. Pick from your inventory. Go find whatever it is you don't have or go buy some more. Add it to the inventory, and you've got a system in place. You guys all need to be thinking this way right now. If you're looking at retreats, I had helped, we were looking at a couple of locations that people, our friends and allies, are buying right now because they were asking, what do you think about this? Beautiful locations. The big thing is start moving in there as quick as we can, and as quick as you guys can, and we can too, because we'll be helping out. But start caching and stashing right away. Anything happens, remember, what you got is all you got. You're probably not going to get a chance to get back to your base location if things go to hell in a handcart. Look at how many places where the government and their buddies, the rioters, look at the damage they've done and look at how they move in. And when the rioters get caught up and get stopped, then the government rides up to make sure that you people who are stopping their buddies get...
Hey, Mark.
Go ahead, caller. Who do we have?
Hey, Tom Jones. You mentioned a few weeks back about a group up in Wellston or where area. Have you got a hold of them and gave them my info yet?
I'd have to double check. As far as I know, we did. In fact, I had another group. Well, hold on. I know we did because it was posted over to them. So they may or may not have had time with all the stuff that is going on to get back with you. But you've got a couple other groups up there too, and there's somebody I mentioned where you were and kind of reminded them that they should, move sideways and make contact with us. So you've got more than one group that has your name.
Yeah, because I have not heard from any other groups around me or that. I just was wondering if you.
Well, I'll get off the phone right now and put a cattle prod right up their hind end, and they'll probably shake Jake and boom, and then maybe they'll recall, I should have called them.
Yeah, no, I was just...
it's the only thing I have to do this week. You know what I mean? I will. Okay, I'll follow up on it, but when you mention that, that's all I need. Okay, I understand they didn't get hold of you yet, so I'll just give them a smack side the computer phone here and the computer system, and find out. Send another email too. Sound good?
Yeah, because I'd like to get other groups motivated around this way.
Well, I think another thing that's happening, too, is some of the people, what it is they've been tied up in going to help with the, work up against the Black Lives Matter / the Antifa turds. So that's probably what they've been busy with. And rather than thinking about, training or even getting together at this time, they've been on the road going to certain places around the state. So I know that the one group has been, not all the way down to Hillsdale. There's stuff going on all over the northern part of the state, too. So what people are doing is being precautionary and showing up where they need to, where there's things happening. So that may be what tied them up. I mean, it's been a very busy 2 weeks. So I know it's been for us. And I just have so much extra time on my hands. I mean, it's just, there's nothing going on. So the same is true with a lot of other people. We'll see what we can do to square that away. Anything else going on out there, by the way? Let's see, Antifa burning down the Moose Lodge or... attacking the evil American flagpole because it's an American flagpole in, downtown?
No, things have been pretty quiet up this way. But, yeah, because they canceled all their things that they're going to come up this way because they didn't want to confront a bunch of armed people.
Yeah, I think everybody has pretty well had it up with them, and the only thing you've got now are the police chiefs and the other suck-ups that are government types because they've been watching. Again, they're brainwashed with the same propaganda from government that these other characters, like I said, like the Dawg Muzzle crew, and they're really missing the mark here in that nobody wants to hear their yap about how they're supporting Antifa or supporting Black Lives Matter. It's like, I don't care about them anymore. I didn't hire you to worry about some asshat who comes into my community from halfway across the state because they want to wag their weenie in my face. In fact, our job is to make sure that doesn't happen. You wanted the cities. This is what gets me about this. Didn't they want the cities? Isn't that what they got? They got the cities. Burn them down. As far as I'm concerned, here's how it works. They got Cincinnati. So they got Cincinnati. There's a bunch of Jewish sections of businesses over there. Go burn them out. They're the ones with the money. They're the ones that aren't sharing the money in Cincinnati the way they should. So why aren't they tearing up all of those? And why isn't the media telling them they need to go protest all those Jewish-run banks and other operations? I think it'd be wonderful. But they don't do that. They don't bite the hand that feeds them. So instead, they're going to go out to rural America. Well, you see, because, again, they're desperately trying to get in somebody's face under the logic they're going to get away with the same garbage away from their centers of operation. Go burn down your city. I don't have a problem with that. We won't help to rebuild it. I'll demand that we not help to rebuild it. There is no reason to rebuild it. But as far as coming out otherwise, you're going to get shot. That's what needs to happen. Is that we're finished. You got what you wanted. The evil white people left there. Most of all of us evil white people left the cities. Okay, you got what you wanted. You got every neighborhood. You got government. The shoe size IQ government you got is what you deserve. And piss off. But don't come on down the road, because we will finish you. That's where everybody is. We're at the point. It's going to be. We'll probably get the cities back, but it'll be because it's just going to be a flat-out war. But I don't want the cities even, unless we're going to, again, we're going to rearrange how it is that things are managed here. They think we're going to just plug the BS right back in. I'm just going to let them burn themselves down. Now, if everybody gets up off their haunches that are, thinking their property's worth something, and you'll notice that the blacks and the whites and the Hispanics are kind of digging their heels in now, because I think they've also realized something that they probably should have been told a while back. They probably, you know what, Tom and Larry? Guys, I think they read their insurance policies. Most of your insurance policies don't cover riots. Now, they've all been told, or they keep repeating this lie, but 99.9% of the insurance policies, they don't cover insurrection either, by the way. So if the insurance companies can find any way, just like the government will find any way not to pay you unemployment right now, right? If you're a white person and you spent 40, 50 years of spending money into the government so they could steal out of your wallet at gunpoint, if you go to try and file for unemployment, you're going to be denied and denied and denied, because you're just supposed to pay in. You're not supposed to get anything for paying in. You're just supposed to get ripped off. And that's the same with all the rest of the drivel we've seen in these cities. You know what? There's nothing there I need. It used to be when we go to Detroit. Here's what we go to Detroit for. There's all kinds. There used to be all kinds of great industrial solutions there. And you could find great prices if you weren't between, because everybody was competing for carpet or linoleum tile or unique items and finish items. Nobody even bothers to. Those places are all gone. Progressively, one at a time, they were burned out by the blacks. Everything was stolen. The neighborhood is fried. The building that used to sell the floor tile is a hulk, charred out and with rats, moving through it once in a while with nothing to eat because floor tile isn't tasty. And they got that neighborhood by neighborhood, block by block. Well, piss on you. You got what you wanted. You know what? You're going to burn down some more? Go right ahead. And I really believe back off and nuke from orbit. No, that's how it works. With most of these areas now, if the people won't step up, I don't feel sorry for them. I feel sorry for the old people that are stuck there. But here's the thing. Let me point something out. We should be in the process of getting the old people moved out of the metropolitan areas and bringing them out to the rural areas, provided they aren't leftist and voting for commies. But, moving them out of the area. They do have their own income. They usually have something from the government coming in because they did get retirement in some form, or they got their retirement. Maybe it survived, maybe it didn't, from whatever corporation. So they're taken care of, and it would be better to get them out of the threat environment. How many videos have we counted? I counted 98 of them in a quick search of 82 to 95-year-old men and women being pushed down by blacks during this latest wave, where I could just do a quick search. One was a woman in a pink dress, 92 years old, and this black who's probably the Ubangi, the knuckle-dragging Ubangi Maximus with homie fry shorts, walks up and shoves her down to the ground so her head bounces on the pavement. That's a murder action there. That's attempted murder as far as I'm concerned, period. If I'd been watching it, I'd have shot him. I just tell you, I wouldn't want him to get away. I just, and if anybody else, he tried to kill his child. I do it as soon as I could, so it'd be like while he was attacking the woman. I don't feel that I'm a spring chicken. That fine elderly lady was being attacked. He deserves to die. That's just how it is. But you see, here's the thing. There's dozens and dozens I can find quickly, which means there's, it's kind of like the cockroach. So there's thousands and thousands of these that have happened. Why am I supposed to trust my government to help me? See what government's doing for you? Nothing. See what the cities are doing for you? Nothing. Unfortunately, they're also the suck buckets where they'll, it's like New York and Chicago. All they are just suck buckets for all the rest of the state. We don't benefit from them. They don't produce anything and nowhere near the jobs needed because they're almost all wallet suckers now. So we're at a point where it's like we said, we knew we'd get to this point. We knew it would happen. You're there. You are there. This is the war you've been expecting. You are there. Congratulations. Now, everybody get over it and get ready to deal with the problem, which is why Tom's, urging about taking care of the problem by getting people connected. Anyway, a couple other things here real quick. And again, pay attention to who it is in your local smaller community that makes any kind of mouth about, we got to be reasonable. Those people need to be out of your community. That's another thing. If they have a business, don't do business with them. This is where we are right now. If you got some mouthy POS, everybody understand that one's supporting the communists. You're saying you're for Black Lives Matter and for Antifa. Oh yeah, okay, then don't do any business. The economy is so soft, run their ass out of business, therefore run their ass out of town. If they commit suicide, I don't care. Good, all the better. They're losing their business, they're going to blow their brains out. Good. Well, they were pretty worthless anyway, so what's my point? I mean, what am I worried about? What's your point? And everybody then goes, well, no, Mark, listen, these people would be happy to stand there and watch you get your brains beat in with a skateboard and make excuses for the phlegm-covered POS that is queer as a $3 bill, an Epstein type, / wannabe, and you're dead. And they didn't care. In fact, they make excuses. You deserved what happened because you're white. So, battle lines being drawn. And guess what? That BS line, nobody's right if everybody's wrong. That's BS. There is a right. There is a wrong. And right now, you better dig your heel in, plant your standard, you better find your friends, and you better build them up hard and fast. That's all there is to it. Anybody and everybody you can. Plant the seed. Like I said, I use a handshake. Larry, that's been fantastic. I've been finding out who the parasites are real quick if they do the woo-woo. I haven't had anybody do that yet because I've been pretty good judge.
You remember the old British TV series, The Prisoner, with Patrick McGowan?
Right. Oh, yeah, we watched it. Ethan's pulled it up here. We watched it all the way through again.
Remember when he tested the prisoners? He was looking for which ones were the jailers hiding his prisoners and which ones were the actual prisoners. He would go up and he would be aggressive. And the ones that would, jump back and be demure, he knew that they were the prisoners, and the other ones that were aggressive back to him, he knew those were the jailers.
Right, those are the barking dogs. Yeah.
Right.
And that's the scenario. Well, in this case, it's a positive thing because the people that we need are the ones who. Well, let me point something out. A few weeks ago, a month ago, Donald Trump, not somebody else, Donald Trump said, we're going to have to possibly do away with handshaking. Well, that scurrilous piece of crap. Okay, that turd. As far as, really? Guess what? That ain't going to... Before we knew all about this kind of neat stuff, you think about that. How far into the depths of time does the handshake in one form or another exist? Have you ever thought about that? Where certain trade, like their customs, where do they come from? How far back do they go? And yet, with the panty waist of the 21st century, you can have some Nimrod, worthless turd tell you that, well, we're going to have to make you all stop handshaking because it's evil. Guys, that's part of that's a manly thing, as a matter of fact. Think about that. That is the trait of a man. It is. There's the association of women, there's the association of men. And the handshake is a masculine symbol. Think about that. And of course the effeminate turds and all the Epstein types want that. And of course the idea is to see whether you're stupid enough. But then in a few weeks, all of a sudden, guess what? Black Lives Matter and Antifa are out there shoulder to shoulder in a classic beat-down riot, and it's perfectly okay. And then they write, the same ones who wrote that story about you can't handshake because it's evil and we're going to have to stop you from doing it, are the same fools who said, oh, but if you leave your house and go out to riot, then social distancing and all the garbage they've propagandized you to is irrelevant. You have the magic force field, like the cop magic force field. Isn't that amazing? Wow. Who'd have thunk that? Actually, we've talked about this the whole time. So I want everybody to think about that one. And again, like I said, how do you find out who your allies are, who your friends are? And I mean randomly, because I've had several people, like one guy said, all I'm waiting for is the call. Actually, what I did is I made that person, I put him in touch with other people, and he's now part of a combat engineer unit, a militia combat engineer unit we've been putting together. We just made sure he had the phone number. He gets hold of them. They can talk to him. Now all of his machinery is part of ours, and when the time comes, got that much more on our side. But it's like you said, I'm so tired of this, I'm just waiting for the call. Well, tell you what, here's a telephone call you can make. That's how you need to be acting constantly, people. And again, motivate, 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 motivate. Don't be wheezers. Motivate. It is going to be bad. It is going to be a struggle. It is going to be a glorious struggle. It is going to be a grand fight. It is going to be an opportunity for you to earn your freedom, earn your liberty. You have to earn it. It is a birthright, but you still have to keep it. You got to fight for it. And you look at what's on the streets of America right now, and you look at the government in uniform on the streets of America and how they treat us as the enemy, far less than they do Antifa and the rest of the communists that are their fellow travelers. And look at the news media. Pay attention to every talking head that talks down about you people arming up to defend your community. Pay attention to who those turds are. The press is in the field and the gun battle starts. Shoot the press. Everybody should be, assigning a unit whose job it is to exterminate the press. That's nice equipment to have for the future. But if it gets into a battlefield situation, press doesn't leave the battlefield, just like the enemy. They let nothing but a rumor of their destruction return to where they came from. And the priority should be to cut them off, make sure that they don't get away. Just keep that at the top of the inventory. Another thing here, battle standards, somebody was asking about. Well, the American flag is going to create some confusion, only in that, again, first of all, we want to kind of keep everything quiet to begin with so you don't offer the enemy intelligence. That's why they do all the Velcro with all the uniforms. So let's understand and take that lesson. It used to be you have to unstitch them. Anybody remember those heady good old days? I do, where you had to sterilize your uniforms if you were going to be going to a certain area. And you had to even take the labels out of the neck of your shirts. Where it tells you, like what size. Oh no, you had to have all that out. Had to take a thread remover and pop the thread and then pull everything out. You want to make it so it wasn't going to irritate. But you have to take every label, every marker, all your unit tabs, everything off, unpin anything, put it all in a little bag, leave it over there in the locker, or leave it over there in the trunk. And that's something that now it's just, or they can lie and put another patch on so they can claim there's something else. Learn lessons from that. By the way, enemy dead, make sure you pull those patches and keep them in Ziploc bags together. When you're stripping enemy dead, if you are going to be reissuing the uniforms, keep in mind that when you strip the enemy body, Ziploc bags, you take all the unit patches off of a uniform and a field jacket, and you put them in a Ziploc bag and you mark them date, time, place. In addition, all personal papers and any other small regalia or information that may be in pockets goes into another Ziploc bag for intelligence to survey, along with the patches. However, for infiltration and exfiltration, you can then create an entire person from scratch, and you may have put holes in that Velcro patched uniform that you just stripped all the patches off from. But the brand new shirt you got from the other deuce and a half that you guys took, when you put that on, you can create an entire personality. All the pockets are filled with all of the items and regalia and personal things, everything needed to look like the other side, all of it squared away, palletized. Prior proper planning prevents good performance. Go ahead, jump in there.
Real quick. You were mentioning the press not leaving the festivities. and you've mentioned this before, but I want to reinforce it. Remember who's flying, who's generally got the job to fly the press helicopter, is a cop pilot for the local cops. So keep aviation in mind.
Oh yeah, everyone, all of those news choppers are state police choppers, at least.
Right. Yep.
That's why you hear Captain Newbacher, for instance, here with one of the news services in Detroit. Well, he's a captain with what? Oh, you don't need to think about that. Yeah.
Thank you.
Good point. Yep. Thank you. And again, we're almost to the top. Again, prior proper planning prevents piss poor performance. Remember, if we can acquire aviation, we have pilots, we have mechanics, we have even spare parts. We've been building inventory up for decades. Because of that, again, acquiring materials in any survivable mode is preferred. If it's a wreck, we're going to strip it of all usable parts. We're not going to leave it hanging in the field, and we're going to try to actually recover as much as we can. It happens all the time. Militaries do it all over the planet and traditionally have for as long as there have been aircraft. In this case, there's always something that can be salvaged. Another thing, remember, with regard to the situations we're seeing right now, bring water along for a number of different reasons, but everybody should be distributed and have water on their person. That should be a very high priority. And my attitude should bring a gas mask, but that's just me, because eventually your government will start using gas, not to stop Antifa or the communists that are the fellow travelers. The rioters are with the government, okay? Instead, it'll be to use on the American property owner, the producer, the taxpayer, because you're the enemy of both of those armies you're facing. And they prove it time and time and time again. Look how they treated everybody during the coronavirus. They followed every stupid order and every idiot idea that was thrown out there and vomited in everybody's lap. Look how they abused people. Gave you a pre-flavor so you know who all the cast of characters and who all the play actors are and how they really operate when given the chance. See how crazy they were? Just see what kind of attitude they had and how arrogant they were and are. Buy more ammunition and mags. Larry, anything? We're almost to the top here, sir.
Nuclear war survival skills. Russia and China be idiots not to take advantage of the chaos here being fomented by the Israelis, not to whack us, considering the aggression that we've shown in the world. You know, the actions that we've had in the Black Sea, all the NATO maneuvers. They'd really be idiots not to take advantage of this time. So, nuclear war survival skills. Find a copy, and don't have a digital copy. Have a hard copy someplace.
Yeah, not just on disc. Have it on disc. I got 3 copies right here on disc, but I still have to make more regular hard copies in addition to what I've got. In fact, I have 5 sitting here, not 4. I just did 5 copies on the CD. So for everybody out there, I got a carousel. I've used half of it. I'm looking at it right now. Not quite half. I probably got maybe 10 past half. Anyway, we are at the top here. God bless our republic.
Death eternal to the New World order.
Shall prevail, ladies and gentlemen. The Empire's on the run.
We're on the march both day and night.
Right. Larry, thank you for being there, sir.
Thank you, Mark.
Patience, everybody. Stay focused, but if you have to fight, fight to win. Your life is worth something. Your enemies is not. They think they're going to roll right over you. We are going to bury them. God bless. Bye-bye.
This session is no longer being recorded. Goodbye.